So let's talk about the conventional time management theory, what you see from most time management books, okay? Now, in the time management books, you see a lot of in time management speakers, they talk about this concept. Maybe you've heard of this before. If you use their numbers, for example, it's based on 8-hour work days. So we work 9 to 5, earning, let's say, 100 grand a year, presuming 220 work days per year, something like that. And if you want to make 100 grand, your hour has to be worth about $56. How many follow that math so far? 220 days, right? 8 hours per day, 100 grand a year. Hourly, 56 hours. Now, how many of you think you can do that? 56 bucks an hour as an entrepreneur, I could do that, right? Yeah, I could pull that off. Lawyers, they think of, oh yeah, I can do that. I can charge more than that. I charge $100 an hour. And lawyers sometimes, any lawyers in the room, by the way? Good. Good. Because you should have filtered them out. Lawyers, sometimes they say, oh, they kind of double bill, like working with 2 clients. Oh, I've been thinking about you in my shower, so, here 2 hours that I bill you, right? That's kind of how they work. Okay, conventional time management theory. The problem with that is this. It's fucking bullshit. It does not work for entrepreneurs. It works for employees. It does not apply to entrepreneurs. Let me prove to you. There are 3 problems with that theory. Number 1, you don't just work 8 hours a day and 5 days a week. As an entrepreneur, how many of you work more than 8 hours a day? How many of you work more than 5 days a week? Look at the room. So right there, it's wrong. The number is wrong. Number 2, you don't get paid for the hour, you get paid for the result. You get paid for what you bring to the hour. You don't get an hourly rate. Nobody cares as an entrepreneur how many hours you put in certain projects, certain things, of campaign. Nobody cares. The marketplace doesn't look, well, she kind of spent 200 hours on this project. We should pay her accordingly. Nobody cares. So you get paid for results, not for your time. And number 3, workday hour doesn't equal productive hour. I'll say it again. Workday hour does not equal productive hour. If you and I are honest, we know we're not productive 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. No way in hell that you're productive, peak performance, 8 hours straight. So that does not apply. That math doesn't work. Now, so what does work? So let's do an exercise. What's your base earnings target? So first of all, I want you to grab a sheet of paper or your journal. I want you to write down what is your income goal. Let's say your income goal for 2017. How much you want to make? Not revenue, income. Your take-home pay. How much you want to make. So just write down that number. For some of you, maybe it's 100K, maybe it's 200K, maybe it's a million, maybe it's 2 million, 10 million. Doesn't matter what the number is. Just write down your own personal number. Okay? Then I want you to divide that number by 220 days. And I want you to divide that number by 8 hours. So whatever the number is, divided by 220 days, and divided by 8 hours. Now, one study showed for Fortune 500 CEOs logged in about on average 28 productive minutes per day. Fortune 500 CEOs on average 28 productive minutes per day. Okay? So whatever the number you have, how many have that number? Divided by 220 days, okay? Take a moment, calculate that number first. So the amount of money you want to make, divided 220 days, divided by 8 hours. Now I want you to take that number and multiply that by 3. Yes, Nathan? Stuff that makes money. Yep. not wasteful meetings, not stupid shit that they do. Productive time, strategies, big picture, direction of the company, because that's what CEO is supposed to do, right? So whatever number is, I want you to times that by 3. Okay? And just write down. That's your base earnings target. That's your base earnings target. So give you a rough idea. If you want to be a millionaire, your average hour needs to be worth about $1,500. You want to make $1 million a year, each hour of you work, if you do this number, has to be worth about $1,500. Now, my question for you is, if you want to make $1 million and your hour needs to be worth $1,500, there's a whole lot of shit you can't do. You go mow your lawn, that just costs you $1,500. You play Pokemon for 2 hours, that just costs you $3,000. Not catching any shit, that costs you $3,000. You might get a little bit of exercise out of it, but that costs you $3,000. It's an investment of time. Okay? So let me give you 2 minutes. How long? Discuss among your table about the numbers. Is it high? Is it low? What do you think of the numbers? What have you learned from this exercise so far? Okay, 2 minutes, go.